Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another special episode. Now, my guests are very special guests in that they both are trench workers. They both are advocates for the field. And so, before we get right into it, before I bring them out, Miss Jordan Howard as well as Miss Natalia Fryer, two excellent clinicians out there in the field, we're not giving any therapy advice. We're not being anybody's therapist on here. We're just simply individuals, lay people talking. But it's about Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade. And so I'm going to just give a brief analysis of where we at right now with Roe v. Wade. And it's a very serious uh, matter that's going to impact not only women, but men. And so that's why I thought it was important. I know it's important for men also to speak out about this because an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We know the code, and so this is not simply a women's right issue. It's also a human's rights issue. Okay, y'all, this background on it. All right, y'all can hear me good. Backstage, y'all got me. Okay, let me turn it down a little bit. I don't know why they come on that track come on hard, you know what I'm saying? All right. Little bit more? Right there? All right, cool. That's how we doing it, people. Live. All right. So today's episode, Roe v. Wade and its impact on society, with myself, Jordan Howard, and Natalia Fryer. Again, two excellent clinicians. Some background on Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is a legal case in which the U.S. Supreme Court on January 22nd, 1973. What if I turn up my volume? Is that better? Yeah? Okay. All right. I turned up my volume all the way now. Okay, so Roe v. Wade is a legal case in which the U.S. Supreme Court on January 22nd, 1973 ruled 7-2 that unduly restrictive state regulation of abortion is unconstitutional. In a majority opinion written by Justice Harry A. Blackmun, I think it's Blackmun. Pretty sure it's Blackmun. There you go. Harry A. Blackmun, the court held that a set of Texas statutes criminalizing abortion is in most instances violate a woman's constitutional right of privacy, which it found to be implicit in the liberty guaranteed of due process clause of the 14th Amendment. Nor shall any state, in quotes, deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And so the court in January 22nd, 1973, they struck it down, ruling it unconstitutional because it felt it violated just that. But on January 24th, 2022, in a what some have deemed a far-reaching and extreme decision, on June 24, 2022, no, I'm turning off the trap music now. We get more dramatic with it now. Hold on. It's not a game no more. It's not a game. All right. On June 24th, 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 Supreme Court decision that affirmed the constitutional right to abortion. And so I've invited my guest on here to discuss about the impacts to society. There's a real life cost to these things. And as social workers, and again, not speaking through our professional licenses, not giving any advice here, but as social workers, we're the ones who are in the trenches. These decisions are handed down by people so high up that they don't even have an inkling of an idea of what it is to experience normal life as a man or woman at a middle class or lower class level. And so when these decisions are handed out, it always falls down. Just like they say, the finances are supposed to trickle down economy. Well, what really trickles down is the pain and the lack of love that is in these decisions. And I call it a lack of love because love does not cause harm. Love does not judge. And with that being said, also, let me say this real quick. In my own faith, since faith is used to justify the overturning of Roe v. Wade in my own faith. Jesus said to go and test the spirits. Go test the spirits for yourself because it's a choice. In my faith, speaking from a religious perspective, it is a choice. In my faith, it says, for God did not come into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Again, emphasizing from a religious perspective, a choice. If we are to operate, and this is my own personal conviction, if we are to operate Christian like, then we ought to maintain and make sure that we protect people's right to choose. For me, that's in alignment with my Christian faith. But again, perception is reality. And we all don't serve the same person, even though we may have the same label. Again, standing in a garage, going to church makes me a Christian no more than standing in a garage makes me a Cadillac. Y'all heard it. So let me go on and invite my guest on in so we can get rid of it. All right. So that's my stance on it, y'all. Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the stage, y'all. How y'all doing today?
Great. I'm so excited.
Doing good on this Sunday.
Come on now. The crowd loves y'all. The crowd loves y'all.
Thank you.
You see on this Sunday, good God level genius.
Come on.
Come on now. Well, really, thank y'all. It's really an honor to have y'all on here. I appreciate y'all taking the time to come on the stage and talk about this very relevant and pertinent topic. So just before we get into it, do y'all want to just take a moment and introduce yourselves?
Sure. Well, I'll go first.
Ahead.
So, hey, everybody. My name is Jorden Howard. I am a recent graduate of Southern University with my bachelor's in social work, and I now attend LSU to get my master's. I'm almost done. August can't come fast enough. 2023. But so, yeah, I also am, like Harry said, a community advocate. Through my job, I work with adolescents, and I kind of focus on adolescent and behavioral health. Like you said, I'm a trench worker. I'm here for it, and I'm excited for the conversation today.
Welcome, Miss Natalia.
Go ahead, LSU. Go Tigers. That is my alma mater.
All right, I just had to throw that out there. Go ahead.
So, like you said, my name is Natalia Fryer. I am a double graduate from LSU. I got my bachelor's in psychology, ran track there, and then I graduated with my master's in social work. And then now I'm back home in St. Louis, Missouri. And like you said, working in the trenches, my main background was all like adolescence and mental health. And now working for Compass Health, I'm able to do like all the intakes, connecting clients with various resources, and not even just in my personal my work stance, but my personal life, dealing with a whole bunch of this. And I know Roe v. Wade is definitely a big topic that's going to affect us all. So I'm excited to be here.
But man, with all these accolades, I feel like I have to introduce myself too.
You got to. You earned it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, y'all, I'm not on here, of course, but I have another business outside the School of Outliers, and that's my private practice where I'm a therapist, licensed clinical social worker, certified clinical trauma professional, certified integrative mental health professional, cognitive behavior group therapist, heart-centered hypnotherapist, and some other stuff. But the letters are really for other people. You just let y'all know the letters are really for other people. But I do have I say all that to say that I know something about what I'm talking about. I may not know everything, but I know something about a little something, you know. So thank y'all again for being here. So let's jump right into it. What are y'all thoughts on first, where were you when you heard, and what was your reaction? Let's begin there.
Well, I know for me, I was actually on shift. So I was actually working at home on the clock. And luckily I haven't gotten a client yet. And then I was on the phone with my mom, and she was like, because my mom's like, what the hell? They just overturned Roe v. Wade. And I'm like, wait, huh? And it literally, as she said that, one of my coworkers like messaged me. She was like, I could literally cry right now. Like, I'm in the middle of a session. I don't even know like how to handle my own emotions. And like we were all just talking about it in the chat, like how are we supposed to be effective clinicians today? Like when this something is like affecting not only us, but now we have to, like, our mind has to try to process and wrap our head around everything while still trying to make sure we meet the needs of our clients in this exact moment. So in that, we were just like my mouth was just dropped. And I know I've kind of extended a block on my schedule a little bit longer that day, like just to even try to process so I can get my emotions intact before even trying to like help somebody else.
What about you, Jordan? And thank you for that, Natalia.
Very similar. I was on the clock at home and I was in a Zoom meeting and it was our staff meeting where we kind of just like debrief, talk about stuff. And everybody was like, oh my God, y'all. And he was like, what? But like at the same time, stuff started rolling in like on like notifications and stuff. And then so it was like more a shock just because we do a lot around policy and maternal health and like women's health in Louisiana right now anyway with my job. So like that's big for us. And like it's already hard to just push the simple things and the simple resources and everything that we need to like sustain what we already have. And when we got there, everybody was just like, bro, like it wasn't even shock. It was almost just like, it was just like, what the heck, you know? And so then I saw a post from Fox DC out here where I'm at right now, and they had put up like this big inflatable under the bridge. And I'm like, because they knew people don't want to be here after decisions like that are made. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, like they knew what the impact of that was about to be for some people, you know, especially
What,
victims right now of sexual assault and stuff like that.
wait, slow me down. So
Mm-hmm.
help me out here. You said an inflatable under what bridge?
I hold on, let me see. It
Yeah, I was
was
like, hold on, wait.
So,
under
but
the Frederick Douglass Bridge in DC
in
out here.
DC,
Yeah,
they
once it was
put
announced.
once it was
Yeah.
announced,
Mm-hmm.
they put an inflatable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never put an inflatable under a bridge now, so I'm assuming this is a pretty big,
Yeah.
like, so it's like hanging from under the bridge in case
Uh,
anyone
I
jumps.
I think it was in the water, like to as like a you know how like from like burning buildings, how they do like those big like trampoline type things. It was like
Mm,
that, and I was like, you know, out here advocacy and like protests and everything is big, so it's like they knew that that may be a reaction or a response to this, and I'm like, come on now, like
oh wow.
that said volumes to me in itself. I was like,
Yeah, the fact that that's already something that the city is preparing for.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, why do you have to prepare for possible suicides over something
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah, because they knew this is not, but you know, so that's
No,
how I
no.
felt.
Hey, you let it out here. We talk freely here. We not therapists here. So let me, and I wanted both of y'all to talk about where y'all were and how that experience was to begin with, because I have two African American women on this stage, two sisters on this stage, and both of y'all, of course, were working when this occurred. And again, not calling out anyone at all. This is not about calling out anybody, but how supported did you feel just in the environment that you worked in? And you don't have to go into detail or anything like that, because again, I know y'all still got to go back to work. So how supported did y'all feel, when that decision came down? Because this impacts African American women more than any other demographic group, period. So how supported did you feel in that space?
I know for me definitely, but like my coworkers and stuff, we were because like you said, yeah, it affects African American women more, but I was even from my white counterpart coworkers, like we were all like just talking about like how it was affecting us, and I was one to first speak up about it. I put in the like our overall like group chat like OMG, like this happened with the thing, and a lot of people were like commenting and like hearting it. And like I even got like even side messages from some of my coworkers like thank you for even posting it because I feel like I'm not alone in this situation, because some, and I always tell people, even, when I was running track and doing all this stuff, I will be the voice for the voiceless. I'm fine for speaking up and taking the heat for other people if I feel like we all, as a collective are feeling the same way. And so I know definitely really supported by coworkers. Our managers and staff, of course they have to come from like a clinical hierarchy. So they have like certain guidelines they have to follow too. And basically, saying like, hey, we understand y'all feeling the way y'all feel, take those moments if you need to, but realize, we still have a job to do. So, our number one needs are like our clients. And that's why, we were all like, we get that, trying to just, I'm glad y'all did acknowledge, like, we do need to take a little step back, but then trying to compartmentalize to be able to focus on the job. So
Compartmentalized to focus on the job. So there was no, and again, not to say that this is right or wrong or anything like that. It's not about, just want to understand, mental wellness, and a lot of mental health workers, people of without titles that are in the trenches, trench workers, I call us. A lot of us have vicarious trauma on top of the trauma that we experience, and you're supposed to. Let me rephrase that. Not supposed to. It the most healthiest choice is to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, especially when hit with certain environmental, socioeconomic stressors, or any major stressor. And I'm sure Roe v. Wade would be considered a major stressor. So y'all continued working even though y'all received this message.
I mean, yeah, you gotta. It's like it's almost like regular type of trauma stuff. Life don't stop, so it's like you gotta know how to. All right, it's a time or a place. Yeah, these are my emotions. Let me try to put a little block, breathe, throw it back on my head. Let me work, and then as soon as you clock off, then try to like focus on those emotions. But yeah, I mean, you still gotta. Life's still going on, and yeah, it is happening. But our clients are still going through what they're going through before the overturn, so we got to make sure we can try to be there for them too. So.
Hmm. Hmm. My doctor asked me this question: Who saved Superman? And so I pose that to y'all.
Lois Lane.
Who Lewis Lane? That's who saved Superwoman. But seriously, like y'all continue working because y'all said the clients, the people, which is who we're called to serve and be an advocate for. And so thinking about that, just the toll that it takes on the workers, they're in our own advocacy for others. We have to also advocate for ourselves and make sure that the institutions understand the gravity of what it is that we do, and that they honor that by giving us the time off that we need, because we do need that time off to decompress. Self-care is not selfish. And so there's no time for self-care, is what y'all saying. There ain't no time for self-care. It's acceptance, debrief, continue doing your job, which then means you have to push it back down and hope that you have enough energy by the time you get home to deal with that suppressed or repressed energy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, suppressed at first. And if you don't deal with it, then eventually it becomes repressed. And again, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it'll direct your life, and you will call it fate. So that repressed material then manifests itself in other ways, specifically showing up in the body in physical ailments, because the body keeps the score. So all of these things are going on. Like you said, life continues to go on, but does life have to continue to go on the way that it's going on, is one question I want to pose society in general. And then secondly, how do we move forward from here? Like how, well, let's discuss the impact first off. Let's discuss the societal impact on Roe v. Wade. And you begin discussing it, Jordan, the inflatables under the bridge. So they knowing people, like at this point, can y'all speak to, if y'all know any, and again, not putting out any personal information, but if y'all know any stories that y'all could maybe change the details up a little bit to, help us understand why Roe v. Wade being overturned would then influence someone to want to end their life.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a
So
couple of minutes.
I was on social media, and there was this woman who had scheduled an appointment to kind of like, don't quote me on it, but I think it was like to kind of just see like the health of her baby, because baby was constantly having like seizures, and like she was like, I can feel my baby like every time she has the seizures and stuff. And she was like, so I don't like, she was trying to make an appointment basically to discuss an abortion, because she was like, either I'm going to die having this baby, or she's going to die inside of me anyway, because of everything that, she was experiencing, as far as she probably wouldn't make it to, what's it called? Like
The
to,
time.
to term. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
And so she was just like, and her doctor was like, well, I don't feel comfortable scheduling that anymore, just because I don't want to get my license revoked. And so she was like, for me to have to sit here and just feel my baby struggle and worry about my own health like every day, like it's hard. And now they're telling her like, oh, you're just gonna have it or wait until it dies to actually, you know, have it aborted. And it's like she's like, that's so traumatic and painful for me to know that I'm suffering and so is my unborn child. And like, so that could be that's mental trauma, like to the highest power, because something that brought you at one point so much joy to know is like being taken away from you, but also you're helpless, literally.
Hmm.
Like the people who have been to school and the doctors and everything that are here to help you can't do anything for you because they're in fear too of just being able to make a living for themselves. So it's hard. Like, and I would, I guess that's would be my story that I saw that would make me, think about that.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that there are institutional uh, mandates that are
Hmm.
now inflicting a human cost,
Hmm.
that's now causing human pain.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the institutions, and it's hard to go. What can you do against institutions since
Right.
that is part of the government or what we use or agreed upon the social
Right.
contract that we agreed upon with being American citizen that we are to be governed by. So then the question then becomes, what happens whenever the rules don't work out for you?
Hmm.
A little bit more about my background. I have 3 degrees. One is in process technology, which is to work at like all factories, refineries, whatnot, rigs. The other two is a bachelor in sociology with a concentration in criminology from LSU, and a master's of social work from LSU. And the rest of the list, there we go. Woo, woo, LSU, go Tigers. We them Tigers in the building. We taking over. Uh, but with the criminology, what I found extremely interesting, and it was my course, my deviance course. And I got into it with my teachers. That was the only teacher that gave me a C, and she made sure that she was going to let me know that she did it intentionally by making sure it was like, I think it was like point 0.2 decimal points to get a B.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but I knew she wanted to make that point because I was very active in the class because she described deviance, and during that time, the political environment, mainly conservative, dictated what a deviant was, and it was always in a negative connotation. But I said
Hmm.
deviance is you deviate whenever societal norms do not work out for you. That's what causes criminology, and there are positive deviants like MLK, Martin Luther King.
Right.
How many people have gotten arrested behind doing boycotts? Even now, we don't even have to go back there. Even now, people are being arrested
Right.
behind boycotting for human rights.
Yeah.
And so, just a deviation for what is considered norm or societal rules, you will be penalized for. And so now we're talking about an institutional societal rule that just got handed down by a Supreme Court that is out of alignment with the majority opinion of society. you know,
Facts.
like this is where we are. I just want just bring that awareness here for our viewers. This is
Right
where
now
we
they
are.
deviant.
Right. And so again, when societal rules do not work out, that causes deviance. In what
Hmm.
ways, as trench workers, in what ways, and I'm gonna toss this one to you, Natalia, in what ways do you see this setting people up to deviate from societal norms?
Ooh. Well, now that since I think when you gave people the choice to get abortions if they need to, so you had all these actual clinics that had like actual licensed doctors and professionals doing everything now. Now that people are going to deviate, oh, I can't get it. I don't want this baby. You're going to start seeing more like backyard type abortions. You're going to see like people just, oh, they already advertising and also the fake stuff of social media getting so much bigger. Now it's, oh, come here. I'm certified in this. I can do this. And you're going to see like the mortality rate starting to really increase. Or then, if people can't have is then you're gonna have all these like the foster care systems and like it's just I'm just really thinking about like because like my specialization was in like family and child and youth studies and stuff and like how this is really going to impact all of our kids like so much like this is like a generation that's supposed to come up and help. And now these kids are just, now it's really gonna be kids having kids and all this other stuff going on, and it's just gonna be just a snowball effect of craziness.
May I
Hmm.
chime in?
Please, please, no, you don't even have permission. Jump
Y'all,
on in. Yes,
I've
yes.
been waiting on this. I've been waiting on this conversation, y'all. So, not even gonna lie. So, what I wanted to add was I think another impact is more because I know y'all watch the news, and like if you notice, like all over the country, like fetal homicides and women who are pregnant homicides have been like increasing. And like just recently, I've been doing my research, y'all, so I could be fact based.
Come on,
But
come on.
this
Bring
man
them
in
facts.
Illinois, this man in Illinois beheaded his she was 9 months or 8 months pregnant. She was due in July. He beheaded her, and the mom found the body. And like I just feel like if these women don't have the choice to protect themselves, or or to make that choice for themselves, other people are going to start making it for them. And it may be by murders, like or them killing the babies, or like it's gonna happen. And rather it be in a place where they are safe, and like Natalia was saying, with professionals, it I don't know, I just feel like crime is going to increase again too, and then abuse, and then workload on social workers as it is, like because these kids may be unwanted and the parents are stressed, don't have the resources, or be in a place to provide. So it's like, what do y'all expect?
And
So
then
Hmm.
yeah, they making all these rules. They keep doing all these changes, like you said. And if crime rates going up, or now you're forcing all these people to have all these kids, okay, then what are y'all putting in place to make sure these kids are well taken care of? Or what are
exactly.
y'all putting in place to, okay, y'all taking this away? Now what are you adding? You can't take something away without adding something. So now you need to
Exactly.
figure out how you're gonna add to society and the communities, because all right, if so and so having you get what if you get pregnant by your abuser, and then now you that was your way you're trying to get, or you finally were able to leave them, and then now you realize, oh, now I'm pregnant. Now you're kind of stuck with this person for all this time, or somebody who gets raped or something going on, and now you got your perpetrator's baby. You can't get rid of it because now they overturned all this, and then you had this child. Then I'm reading and stuff. If that perpetrator, that person that did that to you, if they want to file for paternal rights, now they can, because now you got to just stuck with all this, and it's like I don't think that those people that made that decision to overturn it were thinking about all these little ripple effects, or they could have and just didn't care. But I don't know.
Hmm. So these individuals who can hand down decisions that impact every single person in America, I would think that they would have that in mind. I would hope that they would have that in mind, how it impacts other people. So assuming that they do consider these decisions, and they think about the impact, what motivation do you think that they would, and it's really not questioning policy here, but really just human influence at this point? Because if you go against public opinion, what would cause the highest court in the land to go against, like, and I know it's not about public opinion, but now it's about values, right? And so you're taking something that we considered a previous decision, previous president had considered a value of America, right? So we're talking about values now. Why would, when the Supreme Court is in the minority when it comes down to values, that Americans endorse, why would they still hand down a decision like that?
Hmm.
If you are out of alignment, I'm not trying to get you caught up now, John. I ain't trying to get none of you caught up now. Remember now.
I
You
ain't
still got
scared. I ain't
jobs to go
scared.
to. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Um, why? I'm trying to
I feel like
understand.
it's more of a sense of power than morals. Um, just because, like, well, I guess also something else that I heard was people said that it may be they're trying to do population control. Um, it was a few things I heard, so I don't know. I don't know, man, because I really yeah, I want it to not make sense, so I really
I
don't.
know, because it's like you said, like the decision just it don't make sense. And when stuff just don't make sense, I mean, it's somebody that's in a higher, different power, something going on. You got this very big, influential type of people that's been under the radar for so long. That's like just pushing all this stuff going on. That's just my conspiracy type stuff. But like, it got to be something that's really so powerful and strong that's like just being able to slip under the radar, because it even, in order for it to even make it to the Supreme Court for a decision, it had to pass through all these little bitty ripple effects. So they changed wordings to confuse the general population, because they know some people don't understand everything that's going on. But they say one key words to make it pass. And now I'm just like you said, that population control, because it ain't the black people getting all these abortions now.
Exactly.
We do get abortions. Don't get me wrong, but you're gonna see a black mother with 5 kids more than you're gonna see a white mother with 5 kids floating around, something like this. Or if they do have this many kids, they get TV shows and stuff about it. They get all this other stuff, but we
Right.
looked at it in
Ooh,
different
come on.
light. So I'm just it's just I don't know. It's just a lot of other little stuff that's just not adding up, but it could add up if you really think about it.
Okay, so adding on to that, um, also, I think it's delusion, and it's lack of like cultural competency, I guess, because for example, like I'm gonna just go to like the sexual assault stuff. Okay, so let's just say the Supreme Court, whoever, like somebody on there has a daughter that, goes to a nice school or whatever. And then you have, I'm gonna just use my sister, my little sister, for example, public school, private school. They, this, let me see how to say it. So this, I'm gonna name her Amanda. Gets picked up from school every day. She doesn't have to worry about catching a bus, walking home, anything like that, right? She's safe. She's out of touch. She don't really know what it's like to just walk through different neighborhoods, different locations. Versus my little sister, she may have to catch the city bus, walk home, like all these different things in not so good neighborhoods, and she may have more of a risk to get assaulted or something like that. She may have more of a risk of you know, being attacked or something like that. And I just feel like different things like that, where they're like, oh, it can never happen to me. Like, or they don't they literally don't understand like how large of a factor those assaults are into this. Like, because also I've been working, my internship is with the sexual assault center. And like, all of my victims have been Latino or African American young girls. And I'm like, it's the environments that we're in, and it goes to poverty and the different things that we go through that a lot of people don't understand. So for them, I just feel like it's oblivious. What is the
Yeah,
word?
that's right.
It's they're
They're
oblivious,
oblivious
like,
to it,
and so
or
they don't
ignorant to
understand
it.
exactly. And so I'm like, they don't understand how real that part is to it. And then that goes to John Bear Edwards with his statement that he put out. Oh, I would like it to be, with the exception of rape and incest, but it's not. But I'm like, bro, but that's a whole
But
nother
it
thing,
look,
because
he's like, but it could be.
every event that my job has, he's there to promote and speak on advancing um, health for children and families and women. But then you backdoor and do this. But then you say, but we need to fight now that we have this in place, and it's been a trigger law since 2006. Now that it's in place, we need to have the resource. And I'm like, y'all putting the buggy before the horse, like.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. And so, and
delusion.
Mr. Edwards, I believe, is a Democrat, is he not?
Yeah, I think so. No, let me check. Let's fact check that.
Look, she said, like, she can handle facts.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah.
fact
Make
check
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's fact check that real quick. And while you're doing that, I believe that he is. And so for a Democrat to do that,
He is.
for a Democrat to do that, what do you think would be the motivating factors? I mean, we hear what's said, but let's keep in mind that he is the governor of the state of Louisiana. Okay, so I just threw something in there. I just made y'all look at the state, but I'm just saying when we look at the states that are really pushing these rights, and I see some states surprisingly up north as well pushing these, but it's really these southern states. And so, what is it about the southern states that believe that the government should have a right to control a woman's body essentially, and say when they can and cannot have birth, when you can and cannot have birth, and for whom you can and can't have birth for, and
I just sickening. Look, you see him when you just tell, it's just so. I'm in Missouri. In Missouri, they was quick to, oop, yep, I'm about to do this. And like you said, like when they give the right to don't want to have birth. And I'm thinking like person because I'm a mom, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking of you know a child of a mother of one. But if you are okay, you don't want to have abortions. Abortions are illegal. I remember, when I was younger, before I had a kid, periods of being like really, really like severe, they hurt and stuff. I was like, and I used to always joke, I want a hysterectomy. I want a hysterectomy. Like, I just don't want to, I don't want to have that pain. Like, what if you don't want to have kids? And I'm like, I can adopt. It's fine. It's a lot of kids that need homes. But now, I love being a mom and everything, of course. But it's like, what if you have those since now abortions are illegal? Now, what if somebody truly is like, I just don't want to have kids? There are already laws in place to say when I can choose to not have a hysterectomy, because then they're like, you have to be over 25, you have to have two kids, you have to have this, you have to have. What if I just really of a female that just does not want to have kids at all? Now you're saying I can't have that, so now you're taking that choice away from me. Then if I do fall pregnant, now I can't have an abortion, so you're forcing me to have these children. So it's like, y'all putting all the people just putting all these laws in place to you just want us to keep having kids, but no, we already overpopulated, and then there's not even enough resources around to even help the mothers that need all this stuff. So it's just a lot of just stupid stuff that don't make sense.
All right. All right. I hear that. Y'all heard it from Natalia Fry. A lot of stupid stuff that don't make sense. You take that. Y'all heard me. I want to quote something from nature.com. It's an article called After Roe v. Wade, U.S. Researchers Warn of What's to Come. And just speaking of the consequence of this decision, it says, and I quote, a substantial proportion of people who want abortion services but don't have access to them will end up carrying their pregnancies to term. The consequences of this have been documented thoroughly by research. One of the most comprehensive studies examining the effects of abortion access is the Turnaway Study, an effort that followed about 1,000 U.S. women for 5 years after they sought abortions and either received or were denied them. Led by Diane Green Foster, reproductive health researcher at the University of California, San Francisco, the study showed, for example, that women denied an abortion were more likely to live in poverty afterwards than those who received it. And it showed that those denied an abortion were more likely to report not having enough money to cover living expenses over the 5 years than were those who did not give birth. Women who were unable to receive the procedure also fared worse in areas such as education and physical and mental health. Now, that's from
Mm.
nature.com. Now, hearing that, that's science, straight research. You know, what are y'all thoughts on while I plug up my computer? What are y'all thoughts on that?
Mm,
I'm just hearing like when women that were denied the right to get an abortion, how like of course you're gonna live in poverty, you're gonna because you're taking that choice away. So now maybe the my decision for getting an abortion was because I knew I didn't have resources even to take care of myself or my children I already have. So now you're forcing me to have to spend more money, forcing me to have to spend more this and that. So now it's just a ripple effect just for them to say, oh well, see, look at this so and so. Why they having all these kids anyway? Or you knew this or you knew that, and I was trying to prevent the possibility of having to be in more debt and more poverty, but now you took that away. So now I have to be stuck with these decisions that you made for me.
mm.
Y'all, and we are great at advocating. So I'm gonna let y'all advocate for about 30 seconds while I get this charger.
Okay. Well, I agree, and I just think that, as much as I hate to say it, but people in society and lawmakers and policymakers are continuing to show their true colors and beliefs, especially like as a race thing. Like honestly, like I feel like it's a way of keeping African Americans and different minority groups oppressed. Like as far as like forms of income, like you said, education levels, like we getting forced to be pushed into this workforce just to provide, like can't go to school just because now you got a baby that you can't really, you got to have two jobs to pay for. Like it's I don't know. I just feel like it's so much more deeper than we can see what the eye meets, because to us we like, oh, maybe they're oblivious, or they don't, it don't make sense. But it's like, if we really could be a fly in the wall, what would we really understand? Why, like to actually see, why did y'all really choose to do this? What is your reasoning? Like, I
It's
feel
it's
like we
it's
would be
all
shook.
like I said, it all is very strategic because it even
Hmm.
in order to make it to that level, they had
Hmm.
to pass through so many different
Right.
hoops. So
Right.
they strategically worded things and put it this way. And now it's like, been reading different articles and stuff too about how females, when you go on buying tampons or when you go on buying this, don't use your credit card or don't, just use cash, because if you try to
Mm-hmm.
use it, they're going to be tracking your cycles. They're going to be tracking if anything's abnormal. Don't put into your period tracker apps
I saw
when you're
that.
ovulating or when you're having this, because if anything, if you mark anything different or your flow looks different, then they could be trying to say, oh, maybe did you get an abortion, or why is this off, or why is this off? And you could just be very irregular and you just never know. But they don't have the idea because they
Right.
just making those decisions again for us. So now it's
Right.
a lot of women are living in fear of, should I even track my cycle now? Should I do this, or should I put it in cognito mode? Or then now it's a shortage of feminine products now. I'm like, so y'all making everything is just affecting us, like just trickle
Mm-hmm.
down. And although people think of Roe v. Wade as, oh, just abortions, no, it definitely ripples and has, like, it just bleeding into so many other layers of society.
I agree. And that's funny that you say that because I just saw a woman in Louisiana. She got a ticket for indecent exposure. And she was like, y'all, they are trying to micromanage everything that women do. And they're trying to, like, basically take away every decision or right that we have. And the woman had on, like, some Daisy Duke, like, little short shorts. It was like a trail ride family event. And they were more worried about what she had on versus, like, the alcohol that was being served. And it was like, oh, you have to go home and we're going to give you a $200 ticket and all that. And I'm just like, come on, man. It's so much more to worry about in this world right now than that.
That was, like you said, a story about the lady in Louisiana. I had just watched something. It was actually a white lady in Texas, and she was riding in the HOV lane, and
Yeah,
it was like they were
I
doing
saw
like the
that
little
too.
traffic stops, and they stopped her, and they was like, ma'am, it's just you in the car by yourself. She was like, nope, it's another person. It was like HOV lanes for two people. Where's your second person? She was like, right here. She was
Right.
34 weeks pregnant. And they were like, ma'am, that baby, the person, your baby in your stomach doesn't count. And she was like, well, I don't mean to be political, but with all these changes y'all making, technically my unborn child counts as another person. So
Mm-hmm.
technically I can ride in this HOV lane because it's two people in this car. And they were trying to give
Mm-hmm.
her a ticket and
I
everything. And
saw that.
she was like, well, I mean, if y'all want to say this is a person, technically now my unborn child should count as another person. So now, technically, since they want to do that, it just thought popped in my head. If I'm pregnant and stuff, when I'm trying to file for stuff now, that counts as another body in this house. That counts as another this. So I should be able to meet all these other different requirements now because I'm pregnant. It's a whole nother person.
You're saying if society were equitable, if it
Yeah.
was justice in a just society, this is what it would you know what I'm saying, this is what it would look like. Because we also got to consider this, that if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm no lawyer here, I'm not giving legal advice, but if I'm not mistaken, corporations are also considered individuals at this point. And so what happens when airplanes want to charge for two people for pregnant women?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need a ticket for that
Mm-hmm.
fetus, ma'am. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's laughable, but at the same time, this is where we are. And
Yeah, because
honestly, I
there's
don't.
no fine lines, all these gray areas.
Yep.
And honestly, here's my little advocacy part and why this is so important. Um, well, part of my advocacy is because we've been here. This is where we've been, and we've allowed this counterculture. That is, it is a counterculture, but it's an offset off of the dominant culture. We've allowed this counterculture of extreme conservatism that is
Mm-hmm.
embedded with straight up prejudices and racism, institutional racism. We've allowed that to continue to infest our society and just play. You know, it's okay to go to, you know, LSU and see the rubber flags, you know, in the where everybody's tailgating at. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to fight over whether, you know, statues of enslavers should be taken down. You know, that's a okay discussion to have. Hey,
So we got a special guest.
she said she said, yo, I got to get on this. I got to speak on this. They talking
We
about
the
me too.
future. Right. We
Right,
the
look,
future.
so look, her 15 seconds of fame. But no,
Tell them,
but
baby.
like you said, even her popping up, that makes me so worried as a mom. Like, what, these decisions are affecting my daughter now. What if something happens to her or something, like, I have to make a life, type of decision if it's versus her or the baby, or both of them could possibly, lose their life on the table or something like that. So it's very nerve-wracking, to say the least. Hi, baby.
And even for me, like I can go back to that. Like it's a very like scary situation just because like I'm recently married. But I mean children are considered in the future, but it's just like what if, like I have some different health concerns or whatever, like I'm just gonna have like I could possibly die. Like it makes you not want to have kids. Like and it's like dang, it's I don't know. And I guess that goes back to that population control stuff because like it's very discouraging to young women who already, don't have kids but are considering or one. It's like if somebody was on the line or I mean or like on the fence about it, it's like they may have just discouraged a lot of people from even wanting to have children. And it's just like
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
because honestly, I'm just like right now, I'm good. Like that was some good birth control y'all just put out there because child, I'm scared.
Yes.
So
Yeah. You know, again, the points that you make are so crucial. And coming back to why I brought up the institutional prejudice that exists. I get ignored, called a radical, and some old foolishness. Because of the things that I say. When all I do is read what's already in the books and been in the libraries. We're not online libraries, but this culture, it comes from somewhere, and it comes from us not really dealing with like choosing. Well, not us, but it comes from many other folk choosing to accept what's right in front of their eyes. And so you think about this replacement theory that was out there. That's what I believe you're alluding to, Jordan. The replacement theory, which is this white supremacist theory that I believe that Jewish folk are going to take over America, and that is no longer going to be, predominantly white folk. And so something needs to be done about that because white folk are being
mhm,
replaced. That's a racist theory that's out there. Y'all don't think that that would have any influence on politics?
yeah. And that's kind of what I
Well,
was mentioning when you had stepped away. I was like, it's a lot of minority groups that's going to be suffering from this. So I do feel like it's a fear of having some equal balance or majority rules type stuff when it's not them. So
Yeah, it's especially too with because like when you have like the mixed races and having babies and a little drop of melanin go a long way and they just keep melting and melting and mixing in and they like hold on
right.
now it's too many of y'all not looking like us, what's going on with these features?
Mm-hmm.
hmm
So
hmm and when we say, and when Natalia, just to let people know, especially her employer know, when she says them, she talking about people who endorse the belief of institutional racism. That's what we're speaking about. People who use power plus racial prejudices
Right.
to inflict oppressive rules, regulations, and basically treatment on people who are in a minority. And so these things from QAnon to, and again, not this isn't about politics. It's about life, and
Right.
actually life is politics to an extent. But I can't stand, for me myself, I don't really like politics too much, but I do know how it impacts life, as we're talking about the human toll right here. And so, reading from the study, if you're much more likely following that study, which followed women who were denied access to abortions for 5 years, and you are much more likely to be impoverished. Again, now we're also creating or cementing these socioeconomic stratification layers because maybe one too many people are getting ahead. You got when you follow history, and this is my final point on it. When you follow history, what I see is that every single time rights have been granted and given, every single time there's been a gain, there's been a really strong right conservative backlash, which began with the civil rights movement, moving into the war on drugs from Nixon, and we saw the tapes and what so on and so forth. And so when the Me Too movement occurred, my question to my wife was, I wonder how they're gonna get back at him.
Mm-hmm.
That was a legit question because what I know is that the people, we march in the streets because that's the only power that we have. But you see, if you are an elite or part of that class, that upper class, then you don't have to argue with anybody. You just get the courts to do what you say do. Period. And
Yeah.
we know that there was the previous president said, I'm going to elect these judges who are going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so whoever thinks that you shouldn't combine politics with life, come on. Why are we here? I'm going to pad the court with the people that I want to have on the court to make sure that this policy change happens regardless of what majority of Americans think, including the Americans in my own party. That's what I mean. It's not about politics because I'm not even talking about parties here,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? And so what do with these last 10 or so minutes, how do y'all think that we can move forward with this? Like, what do we do as trench workers, as people who are out there dealing with real people, helping people to heal, helping the people to get through this? What is the next step for us? I don't even want to see way down the road. I just want to know what the next step is.
Just
I think
empathize with them. Let them know, look, we understand. We here with you. Letting them, like, we always meeting our clients where they are, and just being open and honest. Like, look, as the same way y'all processing it, we processing it right along with you. And it's like it's a step by step process. We're gonna just walk through it and just, like I said, as the little people, it starts with us to try to make an effective change. And then, but that, I feel like that's why these big policies are in place, because they know once we really start solidifying and really getting together as the majority, we're going to realize how really strong and powerful that we are. And they don't want us to notice that.
Hmm. And
And so
again,
that's
the
why,
they that we're referring to is institutional people who use racial prejudice and institutional power to oppress people. Go ahead on. I'm sorry, Natalia, what you said.
yes, those are the they. But yeah, it's just continue doing, just keep fighting for what we know that's what's right, and for all equality and equity, and knowing that it's gonna be muddy and it's gonna be hectic and crazy, but we're gonna just do what we got to do to keep moving forward.
Jordan, where you at with it? What you think? Talk to me.
man, I'm ready for war. But all I'm trying to say is I think
Peaceful war. She means a nonviolent war
yeah,
for those people out
I'm
there.
mental, start up
Mhm.
here, not the hands, but right here.
Mm-mm.
But my I say that because I think that it's time to start taking up space in places where we don't belong and they don't see a lot of us. So like having these conversations, one, because sometimes our people don't listen unless it's somebody who look like them that they could relate to. So I think having these conversations and making it relatable to the people that need to hear it the most, then creating these avenues and spaces, our own corporations where we can make and have power, because a lot of everything moves and gets changed with money. So I mean, like, we need to start pushing through. Like, we got to push through. So like I just think that it's time to like stop being scary, like, because I mean, through fear you get ran over. So like it's just time to, like, I don't know, in different places like faith-based organizations, nonprofits, like we need to start uniting and stop being crabs in the bucket with the little things that we are getting, and start coming together and making, like I said, making these spaces, making these opportunities. And when we do get chances, even in the corporation that we have, like recruiting our people first, like giving other people a chance, and just growing our own space. That way we can make a change and empower the people who need it the most.
Yes. And by our people, my sister is referring to people who are underrepresented in many of these
Exactly.
positions of power.
Exactly.
And it's important. Diversity. My private practice is called diverse counseling for a reason.
Hmm.
Multiple layers to that. I had diversity just by being a black male therapist, but also I've learned a lot of things, and I use an eclectic approach, and so I'm diverse in my approach as well. In my clientele, it's a diverse range. What I will say is that this impacts everyone, but particularly people who are typically underrepresented and who still have yet to have access to equitable resources and institutions. You already have African American women with the highest infant mortality rate, and now you add this to it. How
Right.
much compassion does that say towards this specific demographic? They're
Hmm.
Americans too, and there are other Americans who have been building up much of corporate America as well as just the American economy in general. This is why this is important. This conversation is important. With black women, y'all may not say it, but I say, I told my wife one time, I said, well, a few times. I said that there should be a Coretta Scott King holiday a day before Martin Luther King, because without Coretta, there wouldn't be a Martin, because it always falls on the black woman at the end of the day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even when you look at the stories, you know, we would go out there and black men would go through whatever they go through, and they would bring that stress home. And who would be the counselor plus the cook plus the cleaner plus the everything else? It's the black woman. And then who does the black woman have to turn to?
Mm-hmm.
The mirror, their children, and talk to them even though they're not listening. Like, you know,
Thank
this is
God.
where this is, you know, this and I'm bringing this up for a reason. I'm bringing this up for a reason. This is important because it has really big impacts on everyone, but specifically people who were already underrepresented, and also who have lack of access, decreased access to not only economic capital but mainly social capital as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, if I'm gonna take food off somebody, if I'm gonna say they can't eat, then you better make sure that I'm gonna be the person that put food right back on their plate. You
Right.
know, like if I'm gonna take away food, I'm gonna add food. So if I know I'm implementing policies that will put a considerable large amount of population of the population potentially in an impoverished situation, and we know how hard it is to escape the socioeconomic ladder to move higher up. I think when I was in school, it was like 2% mobility rate. You know, the whole
Mm.
American dream thing. Like you got a 2% chance, you know. So you do that, and you work on buying your lotto tickets, because
Right.
because it's slim
Right.
pickings, you know. It's slim pickings. So now you're damning or you're dooming, you know, a certain population to be impoverished for generations to come. That has ramifications, you know. And so when we talk about women's rights, we're talking about human rights. You know, when we talk about these policies that have a human toll, we're talking about human rights and a human cost, and it impacts every last one of us. You know, so please, do y'all have anything else that y'all want to say? Anything else y'all want to
Uh,
bring up regarding this topic? I want to make sure that y'all have this stage.
Like, no, I feel like
I just want
I
to.
said a lot.
Oh, go ahead.
No, like I was like, I feel like I just said it good because I know it's just a lot of little here and there's and stuff. So I know it's not gonna be the last time. It's not gonna be the first time you hear us talking about this discussion because it's gonna be something that's going on that's affecting us all. So just know
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna hear
Hmm.
my voice. You're gonna know who I am because I'm not scared to stand up for it and believe in what's right. So.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
I just wanted to say that this is definitely going to be something that's going to be in the history books to come. So why not try to get in it and have your face on that textbook page? And don't be discouraged. Like I really just want whoever's watching this, like no matter what um, place you may be coming from watching this, like don't be discouraged and don't live in fear. And if you see something that you don't like, try to be a change for it. And like you're never too small to like make a difference in your day, somebody else's day, and in life, your community, anything. So your voice does matter. And I know that may seem like cliche, but people forget how much impact one person can have. So
And you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what you don't know. So if you don't know,
right,
just ask questions.
right.
You don't know what you don't know. Ignorance and freedom cannot coexist, you know?
Hmm.
And so make sure that you're asking your questions, because there are known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. You know, that's another conversation for another day. But yo, I appreciate y'all so much. I'm gonna move y'all to the back real quick so I can tell my people, you know, goodbye. Really, I'm just gonna say goodbye to
Okay.
everybody and thank them. But give me just a second. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay in the background for a second.
All right.
Oh, that's not gonna work. Not at all. Let me take that off. All right now. Oh, you would. All of that. I was doing so well with this. And now this. Okay. Anyway, killing me, y'all. Yo, I appreciate those of y'all who listen to this very important episode. You know, y'all see me do a lot of special topics in between the seasons of Is That So? Um, and these are all topics that are important to me because I am an advocate. You know, don't regardless of what anybody um, says or anybody believes about me. Understand this. I operate in love, and I move in love, and I believe in love. And I believe that love is light. And I believe if we spread that energy of love out there, that it can light up the darknesses of so many other people's minds that appear to be aloof or indifferent to the human cost of these harmful beliefs. So I'm not going to say much more outside of that other than my people. As an advocate, I say that MLK, he says that rights have never been voluntarily given up by the oppressor. It must be demanded of by the oppressed. And with that, I'm going to tell y'all to stay lit and put on some more of this Mumbai trap music. I love that Mumbai trap. That's raw.